Good morning, class. Today we're going to begin creating creative type number 13 found in the assignments drive under computer art. You'll notice there are some certain folders in here, some stock photos that we'll be using, video tutorials, some old ones, I'm creating some new ones now, and then some Word doc that you can refer to. One reflective type and also Star Wars. That's kind of extra. You can take a look at that. It's kind of fun. See if you can create the Star Wars logo. But of course we're borrowing these from other designers who have created them, but it's a good skill to learn how to manipulate type in creating texture to make it look like its actual name. So we're going to use the word SPLAT here and make it look like water droplets, make it look like water. That's our ultimate goal, okay? So let's begin in Photoshop. Open that up. Go to File, New. We're going to start a new document. I'm going to type in 11 inches by 11 inches. It's already there. 300 resolution. Notice that the image size is 31.2 megabytes. That is very large. We're going to check it later and resize it to fit our needs later. But for right now, it's going to give us good quality image. Okay, so click OK. Here's our workspace. Scroll that out. Okay, now we always take the corner and drag it out so we can use and utilize the most of the space available here. First thing we're going to do is locate our character palette. The character palette is under Window. Under the C is Character. Okay, click that open. I had mine open already. Comes out down here. And here are all of the ways we can manipulate type. So, Type tool. Click once. We are going to put some settings in here into our type palette options palette of 250 pixels. Our points 36 and 80% is alright. Metrics, yep. Okay. And let's just set our type tool. If we spell out the word, well actually let's look for a font. Okay. The font, we might need a simple, they use a simple font called Wallow HMK Bold. We do not have that font, so we're going to have to find something similar. Something that looks fluid. Something, now what is this? Yeah, we could use that, I suppose. I mean, that kind of looks like water, and we could manipulate that a little bit. I'm going to give it a shot. Well, you know what? I'm going to try to find something more similar. So I decided to go with a font that says it's a Hobo Standard font. It was close. Now you could, I mentioned dafont.com. Website before. You could try that out. You could give it a shot and see if you find anything that looks fluid. But for our purposes, we'll use this one. And depending on the type you use, your result might look different than the Word document tutorial we are using. Okay, so right now my type is red, a red tone, a red color. I need to change it. So I'm going to click on the color box right here. This is how you change the color of type. And for my number, I'm going to type in all sixes. And that's going to give us a deep, rich gray tone. Okay, so right here. So change your color to gray. Click OK. Alrighty. Okay, right now we have a type layer. We are going to rasterize this by going to Layer, Rasterize Type. It's going to turn it to an object layer. Next step is to take the paintbrush and we're going to paint in some dots around this to give it some kind of splatter effects. I'm going to go to my paintbrush and down here my color picker, I'm going to click on my color picker I'm going to change it back to that deep gray using all 6s. Click OK. I'm going to get my paintbrush out, and I'm just going to choose my brush options. I'm going to take the diameter up a little bit, take the hardness all the way to 100, and check my size of my brush. It's a little small. I'm going to take it up a little bigger. Okay, so I'm just going to click around here. Nope, notice what happened. I didn't have my flow all the way up, so I'm going to step backwards. Apple Z, or edit, step backwards. It's also, if you want to do the quick command, or Apple option Z, you can do it multiple times. I'm going to take my flow up to 100% so that I can just click once and just put some decorative little splatter puddles everywhere. I'm going to take my brush down a little bit, add some more, kind of get decorative with it. Think about asymmetrical balance. Think about how little droplets of water would actually look around a puddle. If you can imagine that, think of condensation, maybe condensation. Okay, for our purposes, I think that's going to be fine. The next step is to play with the channels. Now, we haven't talked about channels yet, but if we go over to our layers palette in our options window in the palette here, click on the channels, and the channels kind of breaks down your layer into color modes, okay, blue, green, RGB, and it'll be different depending on what color mode you have selected. We have RGB color mode selected right now. It's asking us to duplicate the blue layer. So we're going to take the blue layer and copy it, duplicate it down to the copy paper. And what this is going to do is we're going to apply an effect of blur just to this blue copy, mainly so that the effects bevel and emboss options can read it, and that we're not applying it to the whole thing. And we're going to do some things later that will need this application, but for our purposes now, we'll just copy copy the channel here. Okay. Next, on this blue copy channel, we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and then we're going to invert it. Once again, we do not want to apply the invert to all of the layers. Okay. Next step is we're going to go to Filter, and now we're going to put a blur on this channel. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to apply a radius of 25 pixels. Click OK, and then do that one more time. Go back to blur. Don't apply this Gaussian blur because that is going to put it back at 25. We want to make a slight adjustment, Gaussian blur, and type in 15. We don't want it too blurry. Now, why we're doing all this? Well, this is going to help our background and bring it all together to give it the effect of water. Okay? Here we go. Next, we are going to need to apply a lighting effect to these layers, but first we need to click on RGB so that we have all these selected and turn off the blue copy layer. Okay, so your setup should look like this right now. Alright. So next we're going to go to lighting effects. Filter, render, lighting effects. And here we have our kind of spotlight options. You have to be able to click on these little buttons right here and twirl it around so it looks something similar to what I'm going to apply here. Something to this effect. So you kind of have a dark edge, but you want a highlighted area at the top. Okay. I'm going to change the light type and the properties here. Okay, the spotlight is okay. Intensity we want at about 35 is alright. And then 69 wide. Okay, looks like these settings have been saved from before. We're going to take the metallic all the way up to 100%. exposure is at 0, and then ambiance is 8. That's fine. For the texture channel, here we go, the channel that we're going to use, we want to make sure we apply it to the blue copy, okay, because that's what we applied it before. We want a mountainous, okay, we want to make it mountainous. Click OK, and that's going to give us a nice, you can see how it changed, a nice rounded, beveled kind of look. And there you have it. The next step is we're going to apply a filter to our layer. So let's go to layer, and we're going to duplicate this splat layer. Okay, it's a splat copy. Now we're going to go to filter, sketch this time. Okay, we're going to apply a chrome filter to this. All right, to make it look water-like. There you go. I can move this aside to see what it looks like here. We're going to apply some settings. Looks like it's at 4 and then 2. Yeah, just saved our settings from what we had before. So type in 4 and 2 like that. We'll get some interesting kind of water type textures happening here. And then click OK. It's subtle right now, but we're going to do some things with adjustments to make it look better. Moving on, this time we're going to go to layer and apply layer styles. So if we go to layer, we're going to go to layer style and put in some, go to bevel and emboss, all right? We're going to add in some settings. And I believe they have this set at 400. Let's scale it up a bit, see what happens. All right, to about 400 or so. You can also type it in. Let's go a little higher. Let's try 480. See how it changes. We want this to be, the size to be about 36 or so. Right in there somewhere to make it look nice and deep. Okay, soften is going to be about 4. I want to soften it, soften the edges. And what happens if we take it all the way? Okay, pretty soft. Bring it to 4. Make sure your angle on your shading is right. Remember we had our spotlight before in lighting effects up at that angle, so we want that shading to match. 120, and let's type in 25 and see what happens. Okay, it's a little bit more subtle. And let's see, let's try the gloss contour. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Try something that looks like water. They're using this one. Let's go with it. Okay, the ring. Alright, or you could try the cone. This is the cone. That's the ring, ring, cone. Okay, this is the cone. Yeah, no, see, that's not as good for me. Let's try the ring. Let's leave it like there and see what happens. Okay, and let's apply a soft light highlight mode. Or sorry, we'll keep it at screen. And let's go to shadow mode as a soft light. Okay, soft light, shadow mode. And that's going to kind of blend it and create a nice soft light there. Make sure to change your color back to that 6666, that's the deep gray. Okay, and it's coming together, starting to look like something. Okay, click OK. We're reaching the end point soon. We're going to apply a couple of adjustment layers. So a curves and a levels adjustment layer. And this is something that'll be kind of new because we haven't done this. You worked with adjustments, but just not creating its own layer. So if we go to, I think it's under layer, let's see, new, I bet you it's under, there it is, new adjustment layer, okay? It's going to create a new layer in our layers palette over here. Let's move this down, okay? New adjustment layer, and we're going to go to curves first. Okay, we're going to apply curves. You can name it if you want. I'm not going to name this one, but I am going to put some settings up here. First of all, what I want to do is take my curves and grab it to the top. I'm going to drag it down and then add another point and add one more point up here. Okay, I'm going to put in the settings, input should be 213. Now making that curve like that got us pretty close, and then the output is 179. Looks good. Click OK, and you'll notice here is our curves adjustment layer. I'm going to create one more layer, New adjustment level